A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. I hope you all are doing good. Positive start, habit of success. Stay focused. Now I'm sure we all are aware about this thing that being or staying focused is a key or mantra to success. But the question is how to stay focused or what focus is all about. Let me give you a brief understanding of focus. I'm not sure if you are aware about this thing, but focus is just like a muscle. Now, the more you train your muscles, you know it very well, it will become stronger and bigger. In the same way, if you practice focusing or if you practice this thing called focus, the better you will get with it. Now, hints and tips. For starters, you can say you can write down the things. When you write down what you want to achieve today or in next hours or in next couple of hours, if you write it down, what happens is that you are giving a strong signal to your mind that this is the thing that you have to do, and this will help you in being with your work or staying focused. So I hope this will help you. Give it a go with this. Let's see what we have got on our table today. Many articles, as you can see on your screen, many articles. This one is about North Korea and USA. This one is about Kaveri dispute. Yesterday it was in a news form. Today we find an editorial on this thing. This is about Sri Lanka. This political turmoil that is going on in Sri Lanka. This one is about federalism and fairness. Very interesting article. It provides us with a good definition of what Indian federalism is all about and things like that. So we will go through this one as well in detail. Then you have a new law that has been signed by Donald Trump, and this will help us, this will help our country, India, in accessing this data that is pertaining to crimes and things like that. So it will be a big boost for us. We'll go through it as well. And this is about Martin Luther King Jr. 50 years ago, it was on this day that he passed away, and basically he was killed. And today is 50th anniversary. So you have a very interesting article. It's more philosophical one, and I will reckon you guys to go through it. Yes, I will provide you a gist of this item here, this article, and I will leave it on you guys to go through it in detail. Then you have this tragedy of errors. This is about Jammu and Kashmir. Most of the things that are written in this article are very well known by, generally speaking, all of us. So it's an easy read. Again, you will find a couple of dates and what happened on that particular date and things like that. So a good article. You can keep it with yourself if you want to revise this whole story of Jammu and Kashmir, political story, what happened and things like that. Now let's move on. And dear friends, this is my Facebook page here, right? This is a link of my Facebook, and this is the link of my Twitter as well. I have started sharing lectures on the Twitter as well. Just in case if you are on Twitter, then you will be able to download it from here as well. And StudyIQ's pen drive and tablet courses are available for various different exams, as you can see on your screen. To find out more about it, just check out studyiq.com. If you have any question or queries, you can give a call on this numbers that you can see on your screen, or you have chat support available on our portal. Now let's start with this Korean episode. Big thaw. Thaw basically means this melting of ice, this freeze, the state of freeze that was there. If we go back in 2017, then we saw all this terminologies, isn't it? Rocket Man, and Donald Trump said that the fire and fury that this North Korea is going to face is going to be the biggest the world has ever seen. So this time was very turbulent for the whole world, for of course Korean peninsula, but for the whole world as well, because we know North Korea is a nuclear state, America is again a nuclear state, and it was basically very bad back in 2017. But from last 3 months, what we have seen is that Kim has played bit sensibly. And before I move ahead and I forget, I would reckon you guys to check out a special video lecture on this topic, the meeting that is going to take place between USA and, or you can say, Mr. Trump and Kim. It is going to take place in May. So basically I have explained what are the steps that, or the things that we should keep in our mind, a history of Korea in terms of this type of deals and things like that. It will help you a lot in understanding this whole topic and this whole area and other things associated with it. So I will leave it on you guys. If you think you want to know more about it, help yourself. It is available on our YouTube channel. Now, this Rocket Man and Fire and Fury, and he was also very aggressive in his posture. Mr. Kim was again very aggressive, and now we are seeing that in May they are planning to meet each other. So, and Mr. Trump has said that this is going to be the greatest deal in the world if we can ensure that this Korean peninsula is denuclearized. Then of course it is going to be the biggest deal that we can have. Now the problem with Mr. Kim is that if we see his regime, he took over his country in 2011, and since then you see his tests or the things that he has done. So far 6 nuclear tests are done by North Korea, 4 are done by Kim. The other 2 were done in 2006 and 2009. The other thing is that the last one, the 6th test, is considered to be 6 times more dangerous than this Hiroshima bomb. Apart from that, he has accelerated his missile program, and this is the reason why Mr. Trump is calling him a rocket man, because 80 tests are done, and then you can see other things as well are been. And we also saw this words from both the sides, Mr. Trump as well as it was started by Mr. Kim Jong-un. He said that this nuclear button, this nuclear bombs button is on his table. He can press it anytime. And this was this statement was replied by Mr. Trump by saying that I have a bigger as well as more stronger nuclear bomb than you. So this was going on, and this may sound a bit funny, but it is a very serious thing. Now all this thing started when this Kim Yo-jong, who is younger sister of Kim Jong-un, she visited this Winter Olympics that took place in South Korea, and this was followed by South Korean leaders. It was chief national security advisor and intelligence chief, both of them. They visited Kim in North Korea. They had a dinner with him and things like that, and during that dinner Mr. Kim said that he is ready to negotiate with USA as far as his regime's safety is guaranteed. He is ready to give up, or he's ready to give up this nuclear weapons that he has and things like that. So this was a big news. So what happened is, as soon as this meeting was over, these two these two South Korean leaders, they visited White House, and over there they had a chat with Mr. Trump, and Mr. Trump agreed that he is fine to have a meeting with North Korean leader, and this was announced in the news. And now comes China as well, because as soon as they finished their discussion with Mr. Trump, both these leaders, right, I'm talking about this NSA and intelligence chief of or IB chief, you can say, of South Korea, one headed towards China and the other one towards Japan to brief Mr. Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe respectively. And they visited China, and China was again happy about it. China, of course, we have talked about this, that China does not want a refugee crisis situation. China, of course, no country will be happy if you are facing a situation like nuclear war near your neighborhood. The other thing is that China wants to make it absolutely clear that if anything is going to take place here, then it is going to be a party in discussion, right? China has said this thing, and it was China whose last nail on this coffin was hit by China, because China is supplying, or you can say 90% of all foreign trade of this North Korea is with China. China is a political ally as well as economic lifeline for North Korea, and this tightening sanctions, China was under great pressure by Western countries, USA and other countries, to tighten these sanctions on North Korea, and it finally did. And this is believed that these are the things that has pressurized this North Korea to have a word with Mr. Trump and global community. Now the thing is that relationship between China and North Korea are basically sold since 2013. Earlier on, they were doing, means China was all right with North Korea. North Korea was, of course, you can understand, for a very long period of time it is under sanction, so its main economic lifeline or bloodline is China. But then as well, they have misbehaved with China, and back in 2013, this person called Jang Song Taik, he was purged. He was killed by Kim. He was the person who used to look after the relationship between North Korea and China, and this person was uncle of Mr. Kim. Then when this G20 summit was going on in 2016, during that period of time, they tested their missiles. When this Belt and Road Forum was going on at that point of time as well, they tested their missiles, and during this BRICS summit as well, 2017, they tried and tested their missiles. So these are the things that annoyed China, and China has become a bit aggressive on North Korea. Now the thing is, it's good for the whole world that these two leaders are meeting with each other, and if we are, as I told you again, that if we are able to see this thing, that this Korean peninsula will get or will become a non-nuclear area, then this is going to be beneficial for the whole world and for whole world peace. But we have to keep this in mind. One thing that I have discussed in detail in special video lecture is that this Kim regime, you cannot rely on them. You have to be very careful, right, when you are dealing with it, and I'm sure USA is going to take this thing into consideration. Moving on to another item, this is about Kaveri again. Now Kaveri dispute is not something that we are seeing on our table for the first time. We have discussed about it in detail. I remember it quite clearly when this verdict was out. I provided you with many pictures and other things, all the details like how much water will be given to Chennai or how much water will be given to Karnataka, why Karnataka has been given with some extra water because of Bengaluru. Then you have Puducherry and Kerala as well. Kerala's request for a particular thing was turned down by Supreme Court and other things. So I hope you remember all these things. If not, then I will recommend you guys to download the file. If you don't have it, right, check my Facebook page. You will find all this files, PDF files, and then you can download it and go through it. Help your friends, ask your friends on which date we discussed this thing, and then you can download it, right? So do that thing if you need to understand, or if for you it is, means if you are not sure about this whole matter, then you should go through it, because this is something that is going to go on for a bit of for another couple of months. We are going to see this thing, because center was given a deadline. 6 weeks were given to central government to come out with a formula, but center has failed, and now this Tamil Nadu has sought again the help of Supreme Court, and it is very unfortunate that this dispute is once again before the Supreme Court. Now center is of course in fault, and it is believed that because Karnataka Assembly elections are just around the corner, they are going to take place in mid-May. You know, these dates are announced as well a couple of days ago. I think it was on 27th March when these dates were declared by Election Commission. And model code of conduct is applied on Karnataka at present, because dates are given notified. So this is one of the reasons central government does not want to, you know it very well, they are facing a very tight competition over there. Sitharamaia's government versus I think Yadurappa is going to be BJP's face over there. So they want to, central government, of course, you know, a bit of politics, you find it here. And it is taking into consideration this political and electoral considerations. Now the thing is, what we find here is that Tamil Nadu as well as Karnataka, you find between them this divergence of opinion. What Tamil Nadu is saying that Kaveri Management Board and Kaveri Water Regulation Committee, let me write it down for you, Kaveri Management Board plus Kaveri Water Regulation Committee are the things that were clarified or been said in latest Supreme Court's verdict. What Karnataka is saying, that there is no reference as far as board is concerned, and what Karnataka is saying, that the central government can frame a scheme different from that described by the tribunal, because earlier on tribunal gave a formula on voter sharing. So this is a divergence of opinion. One thing that all the parties should keep in mind, all different governments, state governments as well as central government, that it is not about the names. It is not about the name, what name you give, what fancy name you give to Kaveri Management Board or Kaveri Voter Regulation Committee or anything else. The thing is, are you going to provide this necessary relief to all these farmers and people, right, who rely on this river for water supply? The other thing is that if you want to really sort out this dispute, then you should keep this political and electoral calculations on side, and then you should seriously think about what are the steps that can be taken. We have said it again, that if we don't opt for this more scientific agriculture process or scientific agriculture methods, then these things are going to be repeated in the future as well, because rainfall is getting erratic. We are using more water, we are recycling less water. So this way, and the population is growing, urbanization is growing as well. So this is going to means this demand is going up, and the supply is going bit down and down. So this sort of situations, it is right time now that from here we can utilize this late starters benefit. We are a bit late in this recycling and other things. If we go back in history, then we used to have a good culture of recycling and water management. I'm talking about history, means ancient history and medieval history and all those sort of period. But today we are lacking in this technology, but there are other countries who are doing very well. Israel, again, when it comes to water, then we have to take name of Israel, isn't it? So we are late in this thing, but we have this advantage. We can directly copy paste. A little bit of customization is required, but then we can copy paste this technology of Israel and we can deploy it here, and with this we can change this scenario, because we don't want to see this sort of things going on in our country, problems between different states. Now moving on to another item, this is about a clarifying vote. Very briefly, let me first of all introduce these three faces here. The person that you can see here is the president of this country, Sri Lanka. Then you have this person here, he is Wickramasinghe, who is Prime Minister, and this person, he is former president, but at present he's getting there slowly. He's getting stronger and stronger. Now, a couple of months ago there was this local government election, and the result is that neither this person nor this person, it was Mr. Rajapakse whose party won this local election. So it is believed that he is coming back. Rajapaksa is resurrecting, and you have this coalition government that is running. Means the Sri Lanka is having a coalition government. You have these two people here, president and prime minister, together they are running this whole show in Sri Lanka. Now problems are going on between both this parties, or both this, they are different parties, they are in coalition, as I told you. So problems are going on regarding powers and other things. They have a bit of different views as well, many a times clashing views too. So to sort out all these things, a cabinet reshuffle was done, but this was just like a makeup, it was just a cosmetic change. It did not basically it was not able to cement these cracks that are developed between these two people or their parties. Now, one thing that they should keep in mind is that still they have not delivered the promise that they made in 2015. It was the people of Sri Lanka, and this is something that we have to understand. Of course, we, generally speaking, we believe, or we take it that a strong government, when I say strong, I mean to say that a government who has a clear majority, a party that has a clear majority, is good for the nation or for state, for example. But if you have a coalition, then remember, it is the choice of the people that you have to respect. It was this choice that Sri Lankan people made back in 2015, and these two gentlemen here, they promised that they are going to sort out all the problems, whatever they can, in this limited term that they have, like 5 years terms till 2020. They will sort out this economic problems and health issues and education and these riots and other things, but still they have not delivered it. At present, it is it seems like they are focusing more on their own, means their focus is more on personal party goals and things like that, rather than paying attention to this goal or this aspiration of people of Sri Lanka. They have 2 years to go, and they can safely change the way things are going on. And if they are not going to fulfill this aspiration, then this person here, the third party, is going to make it. So that's everything. Now moving on to federalism and fairness. Now federalism is once again the focus of political discourse in India. The reason why this statement is right is because if we see this Karnataka Chief Minister, you know, the relationship between Karnataka CM and central government. He is of course from Congress, and the central government is BJP, so you have this arch rivalry between both these parties. But Modi government has talked about this cooperative federalism, and one thing that we must say that being a political thing is that central government has said this thing many a times, and we have seen this thing, generally speaking, not in 100% cases, because if we go back in 2014 and 2015, then we have seen a bit of, you know, in different states this presidential rules were applied as well. So we cannot say that nothing wrong has gone at all under Modi government. No, we have seen a couple of presidential rules, and this was been rejected by Supreme Court as well. So anyways, central government has talked about this cooperative federalism, and now a couple of months ago, you remember this flag wars, means Karnataka Chief Minister came out with this flag of Karnataka state, and at that point of time he argued for, or he pitched for, this financial as well as cultural autonomy. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, after taking divorce from central government or NDA, has talked about this thing that that central government is taxing this southern states more, and this money is spent on northern states. A couple of days ago, one of my colleagues came out with a special video lecture on this north-south divide as well. I will recommend you guys to go through it. And then you have this MK Stalin, who wrote to Prime Minister, as well as 10 non-Bharatiya Janata Party ruled states, expressing his concerns over this reference of 15th Finance Commission. Now, the thing is, the central government has directed this 15th Finance Commission that is going to start its, or the period of 15th Finance Commission is between 2020 to 2025, 5 years period. The 14th Finance Commission period is 2015 to 2020. Remember this thing. Now, this central government has directed 15th Finance Commission to use 2011 census as far as this population is concerned, and not this 1971 census for population data. And this is something that is basically annoying these southern states, because they have done very well as far as population control is concerned, and this is a big achievement, no doubt. But when you are taking just 2011 census, it may look that your, means the progress that you have made so far will not be visible. So this is something that southern states are arguing for. The other thing is that they are also worried about this thing, that this share of tax allocation will be reduced as well if 2011 census is used. Now, going back to drafting committee, when our constitution was being prepared, at that point of time, this question was asked, and this doubt was clarified thoroughly by this drafting committee regarding this question. This question is about federation. What federal structure, or what is going to be the federal structure of our country? At that point of time, it was asked, and the drafting committee clarified that the federation is a union because it is indestructible. That basically means that if we compare our federalism with USA's federalism, how USA has formed, you go through the name United States of America. That means all these different states of America, they have united to form one country called USA. Now, in USA, The union as well is union, that means the central government, or you can say the central level is indestructible, as well as their states are indestructible as well. That means you cannot say, for example, if you have a state called Alaska in USA, you cannot make two parts of Alaska, right? So this is how USA, or this is the structure or this federal structure of USA. But in our country, we have India, right, as a country, and we have different states. Now we have different states, or let me put it this way, that in a big country we have decided to have many states or different states for administrative and other purposes. But anytime central government can, it is given in this Article 3 that the central government, or this parliament, when I say central government, I'm referring to parliament is empowered with this thing, and parliament can change the boundary, change the name, size of any state, right? So keep this thing in mind. And the best example is Andhra Pradesh was one state, one big state, and out of that we have created two states. One is Andhra Pradesh and the other one is Telangana. So this authority is in the hand of the parliament under Article 3. So this is a major difference between these two when we compare ourselves with USA's federal system. I hope this is clear. Now, it's been 70 years, isn't it? It's been 70 years since we are following this structure here, and you can clearly see that a bit of extra power is there in the hand of central government. And now where the things are going on, you know that different states, technology has changed, our definition has changed, society has moved on as well, many things in terms of politics as well. Now we are more enlightened compared to our previous generation because of technology and other things, right? Again, it can be argued, I can understand, but generally speaking, anyways, 14th Finance Commission, the big change that this 14th Finance Commission did was basically earlier on 32% was given by the central government to this different states, but this was increased to 42%, and this 10% extra was given because now the states can decide what are their needs, right? They can customize and then they can utilize this money. This was the main idea, and this was called cooperative federalism, or is called cooperative federalism by Narendra Modi, that giving a free hand to the states to decide what they need. Now this 15th Finance Commission is talking about fiscal federalism, and here it is when we talk about this fiscal federalism, basically 15th Finance Commission is again going to stick with this allocation, that 42%, and we may also see some extra money being given by this central government in this tax form, or you can say divisible pool, right, of all these taxes that we collect and then we distribute it to different states. But over the last couple of decades there has been a shift, as I told you, in politics as well as economics, and now we can ask this question to ourselves, that shall we give some more free hand to our states because the things have changed. And federalism is basically, when we talk about this federalism, center and states relationship, it works on trust, right? Trust is the main thing here, and at present we are seeing that there are many states, southern states particularly, they are not having that much trust on central government for various reasons, and this is the thing that finally means, to close this conversation or discussion in a nutshell, both of them have to work, or should, if this is your line of meeting, 50% should be covered by the central government and 50% by the state government, different states government, if they want to improve this cooperative federalism or fiscal federalism, on which we will get some more light in future, because again this 15th Finance Commission is an ongoing process at present, so they have not clarified this thing in detail yet. So that's everything, and moving on to another item, sharing data across borders. US's President Donald Trump signed an act, is known as Cloud Act. The full form is Clarifying Lawful Overseas Use of Data, and by signing this act, basically all these like-minded states, like-minded countries like India, say for example, will be able to access data, or USA will share cross-border data, right, with countries like India. Now at present we are using this India-USA Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty, and the biggest problem when we are trying to, or our officers are trying to access data from USA, is that we cannot approach the companies directly. We have to approach the government, and then they will tell that particular company, and then the company will give data to USA's government, and then it will come to us. So it is a very lengthy process, and because of this thing, we find that many a times we don't get data on time. 3 years, 4 years, and if you go back in 2017, the first half of 2017, India requested some 9,850 requests were basically placed by India to Facebook, and out of this 9,800, you can say roughly 9,900, right, requests, 54% were addressed. Rest of them were not met. So this is something that is not good at all, because many criminal cases, they are delayed for ages and ages. So now this Cloud Act will allow us to directly approach the company, right? So this is going to be easy for us as well. It is going to boost up this investigation and other things. And the other thing is that the current law at present, right, it prohibits the service providers from disclosing any data to other party, to any other country. And the other thing is that these companies, they are working in India, they are providing their services in India, but they are not storing the data locally. They are storing either on their clouds or other places in USA, and this becomes a bit difficult for us to access. But this cloud is going to sort out all the things for us, hopefully. But we have to ensure that we maintain a good clarity as well as transparency, and we should not breach trust of USA. Unnecessary snooping and other things should be avoided, and we should also have some courts, or you can say independent authorities, that can keep an eye on the data that we are accessing from USA, so that it is ensured that we are not misusing this Cloud Act, or else we may find this again freeze of data flow. Moving on to Martin Luther King Jr., the person that you can see on your screen, right? He is considered, even today, his influence you find in many books, in many studies, and he's just like if I'm allowed to use this word, then he's just like Mahatma Gandhi of USA. He advocated for non-violence, and the reason why he advocated was on non-violence was not out of fear, right? He advocated non-violence because he was full of love, and that he strongly believed in justice and love, and he was literally against, you can say, when I say, I cannot say he was against. If you understand him a bit more deeply, you will say that because he was full of love and he was for justice, there was no space left in him for non-violence, and he has advocated love and justice and non-violence, and he is a big figure, no doubt. His grandfather used to be a Baptist, and he has studied theology, religious studies and other things, and this all things has left a big, you can say, impact on Martin Luther King. Beg your pardon, Martin Luther King Jr. Here you find a definition of revolution, and this is very interesting, this lines. Revolution is a social, political and cultural transformation that humans bring to their world through what they think and feel and do, and the values that they assign to their thinking, feeling and doing. Very interesting line here. Good definition for all of you to understand what exactly revolution is all about. So this one, as I told you, is going to be an easy read article, this one, so help yourself with it. It may help you with understanding what Martin Luther King is all about. Martin Luther King Jr. is all about his philosophy and his early life. Now we have discussed enough articles today, and we are literally beaten by the clock, so very quickly I will take you through important news item. You can see on the screen this Bharat Bandh. 9 people have died because of this act that was a bit diluted by Supreme Court. Now the central government is saying at present that it is going to, means today as we are speaking now, maybe around 10:30 or 11, this process will start. Central government is going to knock the doors of Supreme Court for reviewing its ruling. Here are other details associated with this thing. Victims, their remains are handed over to the kin, this Mosul victims, and Chief Justice of India assures Tamil Nadu on Kaveri. Please help yourself with it. I am literally running out of time. We don't have much time here, so we'll inform you, take you through. These are all important news. As you know that I have said it again and again, that I will provide you a bit of important lines, but you have to go through this newspaper, right? Self-study is the key for your development. I'm here to navigate you. I will provide you important points and analysis and things, but you have to do your self-study. Core sector has performed very well. Now you need to remember the names of this core sector, and I will also recommend you guys to go through the weightage as well, like which sector is contributing how much under this coal, crude and other 8 items that you have. E-way bill rollout is so far so good, no glitches so far, so it is a good thing. International level, China has imposed this tariffs on USA. This is going to be a big problem. We have found a new plant species in Western Ghats. Western Ghats is very famous for this new species. It is biodiversity hotspot, as we all know, and this plant species is called Fimbristis agasthyamalanesis. So Agasthyamala is a mountain over here, is an area over here. So based on this, this plant is given this name, and you can see cubs, right? They are tiger cubs, 15 months old tiger cubs, and just like you, they are also preparing themselves. They are preparing for their own competitive exam that they will face in the jungle, and these are your answers and these are your questions. That's everything in today's discussion. Please don't forget to share this lecture with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and give us your like. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.